You are listening to a One Pint Stand, a Minnesota craft beer podcast that tells the stories of craft beer in Minnesota and beyond. So kick back, relax, and grab a cold one. The show starts now. Hello, my name is Dan Bobian, and I write, produce, and host a One Pint Stand. I'm ecstatic that you're listening. This episode of a One Pint Stand is proudly sponsored by 56 Brewing Company. 56 is a family-friendly, dog-friendly brewery in northeast Minneapolis, committed to crafting community one beer at a time. On this episode of a One Pint Stand, I stopped by Thomas Liquors in St. Paul, Minnesota, to talk with Nicole Collins-Kwong, Sommelier and owner of My Wine Truth. Since the holiday season is upon us, I thought it would be a nice opportunity to have Nicole share some of her infinite and approachable wisdom about pairing wine with food for some pretty iconic holidays. Nicole has some great tips on how to elevate your holiday table with wines that will spread that holiday cheer, starting with Thanksgiving all the way through the winter holidays. Can you say Happy Festivus? This episode isn't just about the food, though. Nicole also shares some gift ideas for that wine enthusiast in your life so that they can make merry in the best way possible this year. So let's head out to Thomas Liquors for my wine chat with Nicole Collins-Kwong. Cheers. Welcome to another on-location episode of One Pint Stand. My name is Dan Bobian, and today we're here at Thomas Liquors in St. Paul, and I'm being joined by the second time. Hopefully this will be a recurring series. I think the first one we did back in June. I'm being joined by Nicole Collins-Kwong. She's the wine expert here at Thomas Liquors, also owner of My Wine Truth, and just a wine expert and a worldly traveler, all-around good person.
Thanks, Dan.
Thanks for taking time today to talk wine. So we're kind of on the, some of you are probably dealing with the daylight savings time. I was going crazy. I thought I was running late, and I looked at the clock on the stove that I did not turn back. I'm like, oh wait, no, I have another hour. So daylight savings time is happening, and people are taking down their plastic skeletons from Halloween, and now we look forward to the holiday season, and that brings a lot of family time. That brings a lot of get-togethers and an opportunity to put some wine knowledge to use and start thinking about what's the science behind pairing wines with some of those big holiday meals, and maybe sometimes you want to bring a bottle of wine to help the forced family fun interaction time. So why don't we start off, as you're looking forward to holidays, where does wine fit in?
To me, and I think a lot of other folks that are into wine is food, and it feels like it's part of the menu, it's part of the table, it's part of every interaction that you have, whether it's while you're preparing, maybe helping just to loosen up a little bit and have a sip of something, and while you're eating it to complement or contrast or really enhance the food experience and make things taste better or different, and maybe just to put up with your family and friends a little bit more.
That one uncle who loves to get political.
Yeah.
You need to.
Yeah.
A Cabernet Sauvignon will help kind of mellow him out a little bit, maybe.
Yeah. It just really, it helps enhance the social atmosphere. It's something that makes everybody feel warm and happy. And I think wine especially does that to people in a way that other types of alcohol don't. I find that being around people when they're drinking wine is a different kind of buzzed or happy feeling. That's very unique.
Yeah. And I think it's like one of the big reasons why and I should tell you, I got so many compliments from listeners after they heard our first episode that was recorded last summer. They loved it. They're like, that was such great information. I even had a friend of mine went to Moose Winery.
Yeah, the sparkling winery.
Yeah, they got me a bottle of that. They're like, we listened to your show and had that recommendation. They did a trip out there, and they were really pleased with it. So I'm really excited to talk about wine again. But I think you're right. I think one of the things that that I hope that these episodes with you, Nicole, help do is kind of maybe take a little bit of that intimidation and maybe that perceived snootiness out of wine, because I do agree. I think wine is a very it can be a very fun social drink. It doesn't need to be like snooty. And I think it does, when you're drinking wine and having fun, it's just everybody seems to be in a good mood. So that's good.
I think with that, maybe I'll just do the spoiler alert right now, because to make sure everyone keeps listening and they don't think that we might get snooty, because I'm not. I promise I'm not going to get snooty at all on this. When you think about holiday food, holiday gatherings, especially Thanksgiving, that's the one coming up soonest, and it's a really big one. Anything goes.
Yeah.
Pretty much anything goes. They're really I read this really fun little quote in this book recently that talked about how if there are no wrong pairings, especially if you like it and it tastes good to you, then it's absolutely right.
Yeah.
So if something tastes good to you and you want to pour it and put it with your meal, the chances of it being bad are very, very, very low of it being a bad combination. So just want to demystify food and wine pairing. That there's little science to help make pairings a little more exciting and more adventurous and more pleasurable. But for the most part, you're not going to ruin any meal with a bottle of wine that you walk in with.
Okay. I think that's really nice to hear, because I think people do think sometimes that, oh, am I bringing is this the right kind of red? Because under that umbrella of reds and then old world and new world, like there's so many choices. So I think it's nice to hear that, okay, you really can't screw this up.
Yep, exactly. So should we talk a little bit about the science of it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because there's the fat, salt, acid, sugar, umami, savory, all these different components in wine, and we could spend all day talking about each of those and what goes best with them. But really, there's two main schools of thought I think that are helpful for folks. Or two main things to consider. One is, do you want to have a combination that's more parallel? So similar style of food and wine, or contrast? Do you want something that's complete opposite?
Okay. So when you say parallel, give me an example of what that would be.
So I think a really good one is fried chicken. So
Okay.
let's take fried chicken as the food. Salty, fatty, rich. There's a lot going on with it. It's delicious.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's a great, delicious food. And if you want to parallel something similar, you want something that has some richness to it, that has body, has a lot of texture, that has a lot going on. And a medium-bodied or medium-oaked Chardonnay would be a great combination.
Okay.
So like a French Burgundy or even a California Chardonnay could be a nice pairing, because it's going to have a lot of structure, a lot of body, a little bit of alcohol. There's a little savoriness to it and minerality with it usually.
Yeah.
And it's going to be just a sumptuous pairing. It's going to just be overload of your senses in a really great way. And
I would imagine that with fried chicken, you wouldn't want a wine that is really delicate, because it would totally get lost, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep. So that actually gets me to the next point. We'll come back to it in just a sec. So the contrasting one for fried chicken is usually sparkling wine.
Okay.
So like a champagne.
Okay.
So champagne or even a cava would be great, because you've got the bubbles, so super palate cleansing and helps rinse away all that fattiness and saltiness from the chicken. And then you've got the little bit more fruitiness to it. That's going to be kind of play with the salt, and it's going to just be a delicious combination that goes back and forth. Kind of takes you back and forth.
Okay.
But the intensity is the second piece. So there was the style, so either parallel or contrasting style, and then intensity. So you might have a really light, delicate white wine that has some of that fruit or minerality to it. But if it's really light, if it's really low alcohol, and it doesn't have a lot of flavor to it, it's going to taste like water next to that fried chicken.
Right.
So you definitely need something that has more intensity. So both champagne and sparkling wine, as well as a French Chardonnay or California Chardonnay, have a lot more intensity to them.
Okay.
Because fried chicken is intense. You need something intense, whether it's a parallel or contrasting intensity. It needs to have that level of intensity.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where you think of like a salad, a light salad, maybe a little bit of goat cheese on it and some vegetables or some, roasted fennel or something in there. That's a delicate dish. You would never put a champagne or a oaked Chardonnay with something like that. You'd want something light, like a Sauvignon Blanc or a Chablis or just, anything that's really delicate, a Gruner Veltliner, something that goes nice with vegetables.
Okay.
Yeah. So that intensity is a big, big piece to consider.
Yeah. Yeah. And so some of the, when I'm thinking about, like, I know a lot of people say, if you're having a really nice, you're celebrating something, you go out and get a good steak, you want like a really nice glass of red wine. Is that kind of like intensity with intensity kind of the line of thinking?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep. Especially most steaks that have fat in them, ribeyes, strip steaks, things like that. You need tannin. So the tannin, it does a great job binding with the fats and the proteins in the steak.
Okay.
And they're both high intensity, but then it's almost like they cancel each other out, but they actually just make a big party.
Sure. Yeah.
They just make this really great combination together.
Yeah. And I think that's like, it's so fun to think about that. And I like what you said earlier, that wine is food. It is part of it. Because I think so many times people they don't think about it in those terms or through that lens. And I think it's really a missed opportunity.
Yeah. And somebody described to me once, and I think about this all the time when I'm cooking or when I'm trying to grab a wine, think of it as an ingredient in your meal, and think about your meal and what is it missing, or what would make it better? What kind of garnish or extra sauce or extra thing could make this better? Whether it's a spritz of citrus, you maybe want a high citrus wine that would go well with it, or something jammy or juicy to go with the nutty flavors or something in it.
Yeah.
Something that'll play with it and that will complement whatever else is in the dish and complete that dish.
Well, it's nice to know that you really can't go wrong with whatever you're bringing. On the first show that we did during the summer, one of the questions I had was, okay, price point, like what's a good value wine? And you said something that has really stuck with me, and a lot of people have said, "Oh, Nicole is absolutely right." Like, that just by going, from 20 to 25, you open up so many more choices, and the quality, I think, almost goes up exponentially from that lower tier price. So people are, probably starting to, I know, like in my own family, we're trying to, okay, what are we doing for Thanksgiving? So once they've got the location on the calendar, they're going to come into Thomas Liquors. What can you point them in the right direction of some bottles of wine that they can bring and everybody will enjoy?
Totally. Yeah. I have a fun little list here of my can't go wrong, great buys, and reasonable price range. These range from $15 to $40.
Okay.
The 15 is a budget buy. We got a nice special on, and you can definitely find these in shops, a few here and there under 20 that are going to be really, really great bangers. And then the rest of them are more in the $20 to $30 range, which is going to be your just solid. You're going to find a lot of really amazing solid wines in that price range. So that $15 one is actually a Vouvray. So Vouvray is the region. So it's in France, in the Loire Valley. And it's known almost exclusively for making wines out of the Chenin Blanc grape, which is a more aromatic white grape. And it makes really pretty, light to medium bodied wines. And sometimes they have a little sugar in them, like this one. So this one's actually a semi-dry. And so if you look on the back, it says in very small letters, semi-dry, which for a Thanksgiving menu, I think goes really nicely with all that salt. So lots of salt, lots of different flavors. Sugar can help complement anything. Sugar and salt, you sprinkle that on anything and it's going to make it taste better. Yeah. So think of that. So you're adding just a tiny bit of sugar, a little sweetness, a little body to this. This is going to be a more parallel pairing with most of the things on the table. Yeah, because I'm thinking, you're going to have turkey, you're going to have mashed potatoes. None of those are like super bold flavors. So that'll probably, the Vouvray will really kind of meet that food where it is. Yeah. Yep. And it's got enough acidity. So acidity is key with all the richness in the Thanksgiving meal, that you need some acidity to help cut through that. Okay. Another fun white this one's kind of a little bit more unique one. And I should have mentioned the name on that one. It's Carpe Diem is the name of it. Carpe Diem Vouvray. This other one is Wiley Wines. And this is by a winemaker who splits his time in Minnesota and in California. And he makes really, really cool wines out of California. And this one's from Mendocino. It's a Sauvignon Blanc. Sauvignon Blanc is another one that will be, any kind of Sauvignon Blanc will really be perfect at a Thanksgiving table.
Okay.
High acidity, a little bit lighter bodied, very palate cleansing, very crisp, a little bit aromatic. So it's going to have a little bit of flavor to it, but it's not going to clash with anything at the table.
Okay.
And this one, he makes it a little bit more natural style. It's just, this is my little fun pick.
It's such a like simple label, but like it looks very like modern. Like
Totally.
that would jump off. I've been told I'm guilty of just like being the sucker for any unique label. And sometimes the labels get so complicated. Like I'm like, oh, I'll get that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's beautiful. Just a color block of like a really pretty seafoam green and a little kind of off-white color on top. It stands out. I like labels as well. I'm totally a visual sucker.
Yeah.
For that.
Now you said something. This was made in a unique manner or a more modern way. Did you say
it's more natural?
Okay,
It's more natural.
So what does
style.
that mean?
Less intervention, and
Okay.
I think it's unfiltered, so it might have a little cloudiness to it.
Okay,
Typically, it means maybe a little more flavor as well.
Okay.
You can actually see if we tilt the bottle a bit. There's a little sediment in there moving around, so it's not going to be crystal clear, but the flavors really come through, and I think it shows off the varietal characteristic of Sauvignon Blanc from
This
California.
is out of California.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So this is 2024, and the other one is 2022.
Yep.
That's also one thing. Like, I think some people are maybe a little afraid to buy a wine that's maybe fairly recent. Is that a misnomer? Do you really have to know, like, okay, what was going on weather-wise in 2023 for 2024 to be good?
I think as consumers in Minnesota buying wine, we're buying it from all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
And even someone who's in the industry and tries to keep a pulse on things, it is so hard to keep a pulse on. What was the climate in Oregon last year and the year before? What was it at harvest in France? What was it here and there? And as any given consumer should know, it's okay. It doesn't really matter. For the most part, ask your wine team at the shop if you really want to know more about it. And unless you're spending a lot of money and you want to buy something that's really special, I don't think you really need to stress about the vintage, the year.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah. Another white would be a Chardonnay. Oh, and I forgot to mention that Sauvignon Blanc was $27.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
it's reasonable.
Perfect.
Totally reasonable. This is a Chardonnay. This is a little bit of a splurge. This is $35, but it's a classic. So Frank Family is the winery. I actually visited them on my honeymoon 15 years ago when we went out to California. It's a Carneros, which is near Napa.
Okay.
It's just a beautiful winery. This picture on the front is actually of their estate with like pretty trees. But
now, was this the one that you became a member of?
No, that was a different one.
All right.
But I think we might have been a member of them for a short time, but they're kind of pricey. So this is one of their entry level Chardonnay, $35.
Okay.
It's richer, it's bold, it has that intensity that'll go really well with the fatty Thanksgiving table.
Yeah.
And it's not too buttery or oaky. Like they do a really nice job of balancing all those flavors in their Chardonnay. So that's a great choice. Another one that's a really fun, this one's a fun one. This is one that I'll go back to one of my original statements, and that anything goes at Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And you can almost always bring a sparkling wine somewhere and it's going to be fine.
Okay.
So sparkling wines go with everything because of that palate cleansing, fun bubbles, the funness of them. They're awesome choices for any table.
Yeah.
And this one is Clos de Mademoiselle, or Demoiselle. It's from J. Lawrence. It's from the south of France, the Languedoc region. And it's actually, it's from Limoux. I'm sorry, Limoux, which is supposedly the original home of sparkling wine, not champagne, but there's a lot of debate about that still.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's a blend of Chardonnay, Chenin Blanc, and Pinot Noir made into a white sparkling wine. So it's similar to champagne. It's a similar style, but it's a way better price point, $27.
Oh, okay.
Super delicious. We sell it in a Magnum as well. So if you've got a big party coming over, you can get a big one of it. I think it's like $40 or something ridiculously affordable.
That's not bad.
For a double bottle of sparkling wine.
Yeah.
So this great choice for New Year's as well. I would absolutely. I actually did drink that at New Year's last year with some friends.
Okay. That's 4 great choices right there.
And then I have a couple reds. So I know some folks just are like, don't like white wine, and that's fine. There's some reds that'll be perfect for turkey, because turkey does have a lot of dark intensity and savoriness to it. And I think reds can go really nice with it. I have two perfect ones here. One is a Pinot Noir. The Pinot Noir is actually from Germany. I've been really impressed with this.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, with this
When
region.
I think of Germany, I don't think Pinot Noir.
Most people don't. They just think Riesling.
Yeah.
Which Riesling, I don't have one on the table today, but Riesling's a great choice for Thanksgiving too. But this Pinot Noir, it's from the Kaiserstuhl region, which is in one of the warmer areas of Germany, and they grow a lot of Pinot Noir grapes there. So this one, it's a bit of a splurge. It's $40, but so if you've got a smaller group, or maybe you want to impress somebody, this would be a nice one to bring without being too expensive. And it's got the fruitiness, the lower tannins, still enough acidity, and that would be a nice contrast to the rich savory meat. And the other one that's another classic one is a Gamay. So Gamay is the grape, but again, I think we talked about last time. It doesn't say it anywhere on here, does it?
It just says like
all kinds of French words.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're like, I don't know. What is Domaine de Colette, Régny, red Beaujolais wine? Oh, Beaujolais. Maybe that triggers some
I've
folks.
heard that word before.
Yeah, Beaujolais.
Okay.
Beaujolais is the overarching region. Régny is the appellation within it. And it is always a Gamay. So they always make Gamay in this area.
Okay.
And it's similar to Pinot Noir. It's kind of thought of like a cousin of Pinot Noir.
Okay.
But it has a little bit more rustic notes to it, a little bit more spice, more cranberry. So if you're going to be making one of those big leftover sandwiches, or you're going to put your cranberries on your stuffing and your turkey all together, this is the wine for you.
Okay. That's
Again, this one's $26 for.
That's a screaming
Yeah,
deal.
we tasted this recently, and I was like, that's going on my Thanksgiving table for sure.
Okay.
Put a slight chill on it. Again, not too many tannins.
Okay.
So it's not going to overpower the meal, but just enough that it's gonna really nicely partner with those proteins in the turkey.
Is there like a preferred number of different wines that you want to have? Like how many? Like for instance, when you do Thanksgiving, how many bottles of wine are you going to have ready?
Well, when I do Thanksgiving, because I also cook the whole meal.
Yeah.
Because I love Thanksgiving. It's my favorite holiday of the whole year.
Yeah.
I'm also a wine nerd, and I probably have 8 bottles open.
Oh, fun. Okay.
Because I want to try and sample and just, what's tasting good today? What's tasting, what do people like? And what do folks want to try? And I just love trying things. So I'll probably have 6 or 8. I think if you've got a group of 10 people, 15 people, I wouldn't do that many. I think that's maybe confusing. I think 3 choices. Yeah. Maybe you just double up and do 2 bottles of each.
Okay. So of those 3 choices, would you suggest like a red and then maybe 2 whites, one that's a bit more intense like a Chardonnay and one that's a little bit maybe more on the lighter effervescent side that has some of those scrubbing bubble palate cleanser things in it? And
I'd go back to my first rule is get what you like.
Yeah, yeah.
So if you're cooking, you're hosting, or you're bringing the wine, they've tasked you with it, for sure, default to things that you like, or the people you're with tend to like.
Okay.
I wouldn't try anything too weird.
Yes.
So definitely don't.
That's a good rule of thumb for any day. Just don't try anything too weird, but especially with wine.
And especially with other people if you don't know their palates, if they're not as adventurous.
Right.
But I have a few other don'ts.
Yeah.
Should I get into those?
Yes.
Like that's a good segue. Because there really aren't a lot of don'ts. I know I told you that at the beginning, that anything goes. Just avoid the things that are too big, both like the steak wine, like a big juicy.
That's going to trample every Thanksgiving food.
Yep. It's going to be too much. That said, if you really like that and you want to drink that with your meal, you're going to like it and it's going to be just fine. Yeah. But a lot of folks may not enjoy it as much, and it could be a little too much. Something like a Chianti too. Chiantis are great and they have nice acidity, but they're really tannic and they have like a really distinct profile. And they're really amazing with tomato-based things. So save it for your lasagna. Save it for your pizza night.
So that might be more of a Christmas thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Serve that at Christmas. Same with the expensive things. If something is too expensive, or if it's really aged, like if it's something that you've been saving in the cellar for 20 years, you open that up, and it's just
that's funny.
I don't have anything that I've been saving for 20 years. I don't know about you.
Yeah.
But it's not going to get the spotlight.
Right.
That's
a really good thing, because I think, I think about like, there's always the time, like the first time you bring over, a significant other to meet the family. A lot of times it happens on a big holiday. And if you're that significant other and you're trying to impress people, don't go all in on a bottle of wine, because like you said, it's kind of going to get lost in the shuffle.
Yeah.
Show up with one of these like really nice ones, but like, $27 to $40. Yep. That's more the play, I would imagine.
Yep. Save the $100 bottle for an anniversary celebration or something, something smaller scale. And things that are too aged, they're also very nuanced, and they get a little bit more umami and concentration, and just in this oxidization that happens with aged wines that also gets more delicate and wouldn't probably stand up to a big holiday meal.
I mean, the last thing you want to do is intimidate people with a bottle of wine.
My last advice is try to take a peek at the alcohol level and try not to get anything too high of alcohol. I mean, unless you really do want that kind of party.
Or do.
But to be honest, people tend to drink a lot on holidays.
Yeah.
And you just keep sipping, you keep pouring, you're drinking more. Yeah, you're eating, but you're drinking a lot. And the difference between a 12.5% wine and a 14% wine is huge.
Yeah.
So if you drink 3 glasses of 14% wine, you're going to feel a lot more intoxicated than if you did a 12.5%. So just be mindful of that and the alcohol level. It's just going to make for a better party.
Yeah. Here's a question I have for a lot of people. One of the things that I hear a lot in the beverage industry right now is like people are either taking a break from wine, or like maybe they've decided that like they're going to be sober. Are there some good NA wines? Like if there's somebody in your family who doesn't, but they still like wine, because I know they exist, I just don't know anything about them, and whether that's like a direction you'd go, or just maybe just have like sparkling water or something, just like.
Yeah, that's a controversial topic, especially for us wine nerds, because I've tried a fair amount.
Yeah.
And the sparkling ones, there's a few that I will absolutely put my stamp on and say, these are tasty. They taste good. They taste like wine. They are well made and would be a great addition. So we have a couple here that we carry in the shop.
Okay.
The white or sparkling ones tend to do a better job because they're lighter, and it's easier, I think, to get by without that alcohol in the body.
Sure.
Red wines, I have not tasted a good one.
Yeah.
I haven't had a ton, but every single one I've tried, it tastes like cardboard, or it's just they're trying really hard to replicate a product that just can't be replicated very well. So I would say either go with a sparkling NA wine or a white, or there's a lot of really, really, really cool NA cocktails on the market right now.
Okay.
Like little spritzes and cans and phony Negronis or other things that are very, very tasty, and I think would be really fun for the NA crowd.
Okay. That's really good information, because I know that I'm thinking of my close circle of friends, and I'm thinking of a couple right off the bat that like they don't drink anymore, but they still like want to have fun, would want to contribute something, and or like if I knew somebody was coming over, I'd like want to have a decent NA option for them, because there's like with beer, there's a lot of really good NA beer. I don't know what that looks like in wine, and I'm glad that you recommended a couple of the sparkling ones, but that's good information for red, because I kind of feel the same way. Alcohol is an ingredient, and it adds so much when you think about texture of a beverage, and I'm just like, how's that going to work in wine? Because I've tasted it in beer, and it's like the NA options in beer have come a long way since like the last 10 years. But I've seen NA wines, and I've seen even NA spirits. I'm just like, what? I can't wrap my brain around that. So I'm thankful that you had some recommendations. That's good. Yeah. So specific points of the meal: turkey, mashed potatoes, stuffing, cranberries. What's a go-to? Because I think everybody does turkey, usually roasted. Some people fry it, and I've never had like fried turkey, but like I love fried chicken, so that would seem to be. I just see like those bloopers on TikTok when they don't pay attention, and all of a sudden there's like a ball of flame engulfing their garage. What's a good fail safe? Give me a couple different styles of wine. I know you mentioned like a buttery Chardonnay would be good because that's got a lot of intensity. What are some other ones that you'd recommend?
I think a Riesling. I mentioned it briefly.
Okay.
A Riesling is nice. The especially German Rieslings for sure. They're very cool climate wines, and they tend to have really high acidity, and they're considered some of the best food wines out there.
Sure.
So they're very versatile. They can go with anything, especially if you get one that's a little more youthful. It doesn't, they can be aged and they develop a lot of like mineral petrol-y notes to them. That might not go as well, but like a youthful, fresh, acidic Riesling would be delicious with a fried turkey, a regular roasted turkey.
Yeah.
Or maybe a smoked. I don't know if you've ever had a smoked turkey.
No, but that sounds delicious.
I know it sounds really good.
Yeah.
We do the smoked turkey legs or smoked turkey breasts because it's manageable on a regular day. Someday we'll try the whole one, but red Zins would be great with a smoked turkey.
Okay.
So Zinfandel is like a medium plus bodied red that tends to have like some spicy notes to it, and it's kind of rustic. It's can have a little bit of higher alcohol. But the flavors in that would go really great with a smoked turkey.
Okay.
Yeah. Or if you do the White Castle stuffing, I know that's a thing. I've never tried it, and I come from a family that really likes White Castle.
Hold on. I feel like...
Have you heard of this?
No, but I love White Castle. So give me the lowdown. How do you make White Castle stuffing?
There's a recipe out there. I mean, it's you know how do you cook much, or you kind of?
Oh yeah,
So stuffing, always has some kind of sausage or meat component usually in it. And instead of using sausage or ground meat,
throw it in a 10-sack.
You cut up. Yeah, cut up.
Crazy.
And the breading of it too then serves as the bread. So you usually do bread cubes and meat in your stuffing. You just cube those up and you toss it with, some egg and binder and other spices, and you make a White Castle stuffing.
I'll have to try that.
I might have thrown it out here. This might be the year I do it.
Now you have to. I mean, there's going to be a lot of people that now we should alert. Maybe we got to get White Castle to sponsor this podcast now, because they're going to be like, we just sold way more in this one little area of Minnesota. What's going on there? Yeah. That's crazy.
And this book I picked up recently, I heard about Big Macs and Burgundy. I brought it with to show you because it's really funny. It's this writer. She did all this research and put together all these really hilarious pairings. White Castle isn't in here, so I'm going to have to write her and tell her she missed out on that. But she suggests all these fun pairings and how like Cheetos and Sancerre are like the best pairing. Sancerre is a Sauvignon Blanc from France. I'm like, I did discover years ago, like spicy dill pickle chips was great with Sauvignon Blanc as well. Some of the like vegetable notes with the dill and the spice. But anyway,
and it's called
Big Macs and Burgundy.
Big Macs and Burgundy.
So I think there's a lot of fun to be had with your food pairings out there.
Yeah.
And,
what about, when you're done with like the main meal, Thanksgiving, I think about apple pie, pumpkin pie, and ice cream. Are there wines that you can pair with sweet things? And how do you approach that?
Yep. And don't forget pecan pie. Ooh,
that's
my favorite. Yes. Lots of great desserts. Absolutely love the dessert table at Thanksgiving. The rule of thumb with sweet. This one's a pretty important one. Sweet and sweet need to go together. Okay. So we just had Halloween recently, and I remember seeing all these posts on social media and people talk about, what do you pair with your Halloween candy? Yeah. And
that's really fun to do with beer. There's some real good pairings and ones that just like don't work. I think that's where you like, that's a really good way to like understand not all like either you go similar or different, but like there are some ones that you can't, there's streams you can't cross in that
Yep.
version of Ghostbusters. It's it's different.
And there's definitely some candy out there I'm sure you can't pair with anything. But one of the best ones I saw was some meme or some little video of somebody just being like shaking their head, no. Just don't pair wine with your Halloween candy. Don't do it. I'm kind of in that camp. I think because most wines are dry. Most mainstream wines are dry. And if you try to have a glass of, I don't know, rosé with Skittles, you're going to just destroy both of those things.
Yeah.
Or, a Pinot Noir and a Milky Way. People say, try these pairings. I'm like, no, just no. So really the rule of thumb that I'm a subscriber to is that sweet and sweet. So if you're going to have a dessert, have a sweeter wine.
Okay.
So maybe there is Halloween candy that goes nice with port or other sweeter fortified wines. But like at Thanksgiving, late harvest Rieslings, ice wine, Gewürztraminer. I love Gewürztraminer.
Yeah.
It has a lot of depth and body and complexity to it, and it tends to have spice in it. And I think it's a beautiful pairing with anything like just a plain ginger snap. Sure. But with like a pumpkin pie.
Yeah.
All the nutmeg and spices in the pumpkin pie with a Gewürztraminer that has a little sugar in it. Okay. Is going to be spectacular. A Moscato d'Asti too. So those are those Italian semi-sparkling that tend to be like 5 or 6% alcohol because they're just sweet and pleasant and bubbly. And those would be great with your apple pie. Okay. That would be amazing with an apple pie. Another one that I haven't done it in a bit, but is really good off the wine track is a cognac, like just a nice little glass of cognac. Oh, okay. It's like a little fancier brandy and a little sweetness to it. And maybe if you didn't get enough wine during dinner and you need a little punch at the end, there's your cognac.
The Vikings are playing and they're getting their butts kicked,
right? Exactly.
Have that ready.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think some of those sweeter wines, most would go great with your Thanksgiving desserts. Okay.
Question back to cooking. A long time ago, I went to a class. It was a paired beer dinner with this guy from California. He's known as the homebrew chef, and he had a recipe for brining turkey with beer. And I tried it, and it was the best turkey I've ever had. You use brown ale and then a bunch of aromatics like rosemary, thyme, citrus, and you just dumped it all in, let it sit for a couple days, and then not only did the bird turn out just really flavorful, it was the best gravy I've ever tasted. So I know like a lot of recipes when wine's involved, it's more for like a pan sauce or something like that. Is there a way would you ever recommend brining like chicken or turkey or pork with a wine? Does that work, or am I getting too weird with it?
You might be a little weird. I could see it working. I've never actually tried it. But I could definitely see it working. You'd need a lot of wine to brine, or unless you water it down a little bit.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. Yeah. I mean, it was like almost a case of bottles of like Bell's Best Brown. I'm like, this is an expensive brine. But it was worth it, So just like if I'm just thinking like, there's always those home cooks who are really adventurous and really want to like be like out there. I'm like, the beer brine was really successful. I wonder if there's such a thing as a wine brine. But you're not going to use a $40 bottle of wine with that.
I'd find a $12, something easier. Honestly, there's a lot of box wine out there that's pretty good, and you can get some nice stuff that's really, really reasonably priced. Yeah. So what are you drinking with your turkey?
So usually there's always wine, and I guess I kind of tend, when you said red wine earlier goes well with turkey, I felt vindicated because that's usually what I have, and people are like, "Oh, it's not going to pair well." I'm like, "Shove it." And so, like, I like a red wine with turkey. I think it's good. Also, I do. You said Riesling and Gewürztraminer. I really like those two styles a lot, and I like how mineralic they are and bright. All the Thanksgiving foods, in my opinion, they're on the heavier end of things. It's just so like I like the beverage. I don't want to. Usually it's a beer. like a Pilsner or something. But if I'm having a glass of wine, I'll want something that's not too heavy and aggressive, just to kind of like cleanse the palate in between things. And then when we get to dessert, I love pumpkin pie, and I love bourbon. So usually that's when the that's when the old fashions come out. So.
Well, it started as a one-night stand. I had 2 pints for a lonely hand. Bounced back like a rubber band for 3 pints. Drank a fourth in the faraway land, but I couldn't make it as a single man. So I married me this beer right here. A pint, a one-pint stand.
Hey, thank you so much for listening. Hopefully you're enjoying a one-pint stand. My aim is to help spread the word about craft beer, and in this case, wine. Enjoying craft beer and wine is a passion of mine, and I love chatting about it with other people. A one-pint stand has a goal of helping breweries tell their stories. I love to get out in and beyond Minnesota to visit breweries, beer bars, and meet other interesting beer people. If you're also into those things, you probably want to keep tabs on the show. So go ahead, follow a one-pint stand on Instagram, Facebook, Blue Sky, and Mastodon. I also started a TikTok account because I was tired of Charles calling me a boomer for not having one. I would also appreciate any and all positive reviews on Spotify, Apple Music, or wherever you listen to your podcasts, so we can help make it easier for other craft beer listeners to find us. If you want to be a supporter of the podcast with some of that extra change that you find in your couch cushions, I've got a Patreon. There are 3 different monthly levels of support, and they're priced at $1, $3, or $5 a month. If you pledge at the $3 or $5 monthly level, you get some pretty cool perks. So go to patreon.com and search a one-pint stand to check it out. We're up to 28 supporters, and I'm really excited for what that means for the show. If you like reading about craft beer, you can check out my written work on a onepintstand.com. I love to write, and that's where you'll find a lot of my written content covering both the local craft beer happenings as well as my craft beer travels. I truly appreciate you listening and taking time to enjoy our stories. Before we head back to the show, I want to talk about this episode's sponsor, 56 Brewing, in Northeast Minneapolis. They have some pretty epic holiday events coming up that you are going to want to have on your radar. The first is their annual 56 Miss Holiday Market that will take place on Saturday, November 29th from 1 to 6 p.m. The 56 Miss Holiday Market is once again on Small Business Saturday, presenting you with a fun shopping experience that's packed with fantastic local businesses that value your support. You can get a lot of your shopping done that day, and also take care of some home decor and get your Christmas tree there courtesy of Rum River Tree Farm. That's right, you don't have to pull a Clark Griswold and schlep your whole family out to the boonies to dig up a tree because you forgot your saw. If cold is your thing, and you like drinking al fresco in the wintertime, they will also be having their annual pintometer deal, where the temperature will dictate the price of their delicious craft beers that you can drink outside around a fire pit. So keep an eye out on their social media so you know when the pintometer event starts. Talk about embracing the true Minnesota North. It doesn't get any better than 56 Brewing in the wintertime.
How about a beer?
So once we get past Thanksgiving, there's like winter holidays.
Yeah.
You know, you've got Christmas, you've got Festivus, you've got Hanukkah, like all these things. And when I think about Christmas, I think that's when that's the best food. Like I love all the Christmas foods, the savory and the sweet. Growing up, my grandma was like an incredible baker, and she would bake so many Christmas cookies. And so you can't go wrong with any kind of Christmas cookie. And then for the meal, there's you can do anything. Like some people do seafood, some people do some sort of beef roast, prime rib, turkey, ham. The flavors on the Christmas table are a lot bolder, in my opinion. So what do you do? What wines do you want to Like if you're doing a prime rib, what's a good wine to pair with a prime rib?
Oh, you have to go big or go home on that.
Yeah.
Because prime rib is, the biggest of them all for the meat category. That's the big Napa Cab.
Okay.
So get the big Napa Cab there. Get a Bordeaux or something
yeah.
that has a little age on it. Will go well with that because it'll complement the fat of that prime rib so well.
Yeah.
And if you're going to spend the money on a big prime rib, spend the money on a maybe $50 bottle of wine. For sure. Buy a little bit nicer wine.
That's the time to really get exciting.
Because that's the showstopper. The showstopper meat is what you want to really feature and accentuate with a nice, equally intense wine.
Yeah, yeah,
for sure.
And then when I think of like Hanukkah or like anything that's not like where they're not doing like a ham or like a prime rib, what would you like? I know like latkes are very popular, potato latkes. Kugel is like kind of like an eggy, kind of a savory dish. And then I know some people love to do the Feast of the Seven Fishes, the Italian thing, where they're doing all sorts of like, I don't know. I think of like that episode of The Bear from season 2, and exactly. Like, whoa, that was intense. But I think they had wine on the table there. Like, if somebody's doing seafood, what's some good wines to pair with like seafood, or maybe like latkes or something that maybe aren't so meat forward?
Yeah, sparkling wine for sure comes to mind right away, especially with the latkes, so the fried potato-y thing.
Yeah. One
of the best pairs to fried potatoes, French fries or chips or latkes is champagne.
Okay.
So it's a beautiful combination. It's one of my favorites of all time. So if you haven't tried that yet, definitely do that.
Okay.
Or just lighter, bright, zippy white wines.
Okay.
So those will go really nice with salty potato-y things. Otherwise, fish, and seafood, it depends what kind of seafood. Some seafood is really lean and how it's prepared. One tip I always tell people, look where it's typically made or where it comes from. So if you're eating, mussels or something that's on the coast somewhere, think about where there's a near wine region and what are they making there?
Oh, sure. That's a good idea.
So like the southwest of France, where they are on the ocean there, Bordeaux region and some of those spots, there's Muscadet is a big one.
Okay.
It's not in Bordeaux. It's just near Bordeaux. But Muscadet is known for being perfect with seafood. It's great for fish, for shellfish, for things like that. Interestingly, too, Chardonnay, especially like a Chablis or a lightly oaked Chardonnay, can be great with things like crab.
Oh, okay.
Because crab does have a little richness. Or you think about crab, how you're eating your crab. You're usually not just eating it plain. You're dipping it in some butter.
Right,
you have some lemon on it.
Yep.
And some of the citrusy richness of a Chardonnay can be really great with crab.
Okay.
Same with champagne. I love champagne and crab. It's my favorite New Year's meal ever.
Okay. Yum.
Yeah, but there's lots of light whites out there that are going to go with any kind of seafood.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then like New Year's Eve, I just think don't overthink champagne, right? Or some sparkling wine.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
There's a lot of varieties out there. And I think that's a time to experiment. So have a little fun. Try a pet nat or two. So pet nats are
what's that?
Pet nat, it's just a style of wine that's made where they do the bubbles are created in the bottle and it's capped and it's never disgorged, meaning they never get rid of the sediment that's left in the bottle. So they're a little cloudy, they're hazy, they can have a little funk to them, but they're usually really fun.
Okay.
So I think of New Year's as a time to have fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
You could go with a classic aged champagne, sure, maybe if you're having a formal sit-down dinner. But if you're going to a party or you're mingling or having appetizers, try some fun things, some Cremant. Cremant is any sparkling wine in France that's not champagne, basically.
Oh, okay.
There's a lot of different Cremant regions. Orange wine is another fun one. I didn't really talk about that
Well, we
yet.
talked about that, on our first show, and that was really interesting to me because somebody gifted me a bottle, and it's sitting down in my cellar, and I haven't opened it yet. So I'm like, orange wine, because I love anything with any citrus, any cocktail with either Aperol or Campari in it. That like bitterness, that little pithy bitterness is really good to me. I put for breakfast on Christmas, I make French toast with a little Grand Marnier in there. And then I zest orange And so it's like really good. But then after a couple years ago, we went to Mexico, and the resort we stayed at, they had Aperol spritzes. Somebody's like, you'd probably like that. And I had one. I'm like, oh, okay. Now I know what I'm pairing with my citrus forward French toast on Christmas morning. So that's kind of a good thing too.
Yum.
Is that kind of some of those notes? Will those like that kind of like bright, zesty, orange, bitterness, pithy? Like how does that? What's the flavor profile of a orange wine?
So I'm going to do a little myth busting here.
Okay.
And you're not the only one that thinks this. Orange wines don't taste like orange. They don't have any orange flavor at all in them.
Okay.
They do have a little bitterness, a little pithiness. They tend to have a little tannin. They're really just skin contact wines.
Okay.
So they're white wines that are made with the skins left on them. And white wine grapes have a little color. You know, they have like a grayish, yellowish, like deep yellow color.
Okay.
And if you let them sit, they can get deep orange or they can get kind of really light orange. But they tend to have this orangish hue.
Oh, okay.
That's why they've gotten the name orange wine. But they take on more of a stone fruit profile. So like peach,
sure.
apricot.
Oh, that would be good.
And they have more depth to them and that subtle, there's very little tannin on a white grape, but there is some in that skin.
Okay.
And that comes through. So those wines are really versatile. Maybe not Thanksgiving. They might be okay, but like a ham or like the New Year's, the New Year's fun atmosphere, or a ham I think would be a great situation because ham's sweeter. It's salty and it has a little fat, but not a ton.
Right.
And I think the orange wine could be a fun play on that.
Okay. What about lamb? I know personally I like to do rack of lamb, and I found this like great. What's the Barefoot Contessa, the lady out in the Hamptons who like that she's always making all sorts of crazy stuff. But like her rub recipe for lamb, it's got like Dijon, rosemary, and you like pulse that all up in a like food processor, and you kind of like rub it on there, and you don't bake it you bake it at a high temperature for not very long, and every time I've made it, it just comes out perfect.
Ooh, I'm writing this down.
It is. Yeah, the Ina Garten, check out her like roasted leg of rack of lamb. Say that 10 times fast. And that's just like, for me, I think that is super easy, and it kind of has a wow factor. Like when you cut them and you arrange them on the platter, and people think like, oh wow, you put in all this work on this. No, it's super easy. It's like one of the easiest things to roast. And then you kind of like, it's only for 20 minutes and it rests and you get everything else ready. It's like really, really good.
Ooh, I love lamb. I think lamb is really misunderstood or just not utilized enough. I think a lot of folks aren't used to it or don't know about it and are afraid of it. And so maybe we inspire somebody here to try to cook some lamb, maybe try your recipe there. But lamb does have a little bit of a gamey mineraliness to it.
Yeah.
And you want to really consider what you're putting on it. So in that case, with like, Dijon and herbs, you want a wine that has some of that rusticity to it too.
Yeah.
I think south of France is one of the best places to get a red wine for lamb.
Sure. Okay.
Because I think a lot of those like herbs de Provence and like those things that are used a lot there are really great with the wines that come from there.
Okay.
So like a Grenache Syrah Mourvedre blend, so GSM, or sometimes it just says like Côte de Rhône, those Rhône blend wines.
Okay. Yep.
They have enough versatility and fruit to them. If I'm making it though, I'm going for something a little bolder, even like a Mourvedre. So Mourvedre, or in Spain they have them. They're called Monastrell.
Now, what's a Mourvedre?
Mourvedre.
Or Mourvedre.
Mourvedre.
Mourvedre. More White Castle stuffing.
I bet that would be good with White Castle stuffing.
Sure.
Too.
I mean,
it's this deep, dark, inky, broody, but kind of savory and like iodine-y almost red.
Oh.
That it's got a lot of intensity to it, and it's really on the savory side.
Okay.
So there's enough fruit to it, but it's just leathery and deep.
Ooh, that sounds good.
Yeah. I think with an herb crusted lamb, it would just like those two flavors would come together and marry beautifully. I made it actually. I made some lamb chops. I didn't do that. I just did some grilled lamb chops with a Bandol is the region. If you want, that's a little splurge. They're usually not cheap, but Bandol is like the creme de la creme of this grape in the south of France.
Okay.
Those would be great. But there's lots of Languedoc red blends that are really budget friendly. that use these kinds of grapes and would be delicious. I think a lot of Spanish wines too. They tend to have some earthiness to them, and that earthy, leathery saddle kind of stuff kind of goes well with that gamey funkiness of lamb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. I like that idea.
If you're serving it with mint, though, I know lamb is commonly paired.
Yeah,
with
a lot
mint
of times
sauce.
people like the mint jelly.
Yeah,
and
I'm kind of no. I get how it's appealing and it tastes okay. Maybe like some dried mint in the rub or something.
Sure. Yeah.
But if you've got like a big mint component to the lamb, I would take that into consideration and go with something like a Bordeaux.
Okay.
Something that has Cabernet in it. And especially cooler Cabernet, because then you're going to get a little more vegetal note that would pair better with the mint.
Okay.
Yeah, those are some. Rosé is a good one too. It's another one I forget about with lamb.
Okay.
Like a heavier rosé, that could be a really pretty pairing.
What should you absolutely not pair with lamb? Because I think it's always good to like know what to avoid. Because lamb, like you said, it's a bigger flavor. So nothing delicate, nothing.
Not like a Pinot Grigio from northern Italy. Probably not a Sauvignon Blanc. None of those light, zippy whites. Yeah. They're going to taste like water.
Yeah. Yeah. So, when we're talking like Christmas desserts, whereas Thanksgiving, I feel like, apple pie, pumpkin pie, pecan pie, those are all kind of like pretty common. When people are having dessert for like Christmas or like, a winter holiday, it's kind of all over the board. So where do you go? Like, how do you prepare for that? Like, if somebody's bringing like a cheesecake, or like somebody has just like, the assortment of like Christmas cookies, should you like pair wine with that, or do you go straight to like a port, like something like a more fortified kind of a dessert wine type thing?
I think this is one of those where anything can go.
Yeah.
You can grab a dessert wine, or in my case, I'm making Tom and Jerry's. Tom and Jerry's.
Yes.
With my cookies.
Those are so good.
And or an old fashioned or something like that. Something more wintry, cocktail like. I've had some wine with the food, and now I'm gonna sit down and eat a variety of cookies.
You're gonna watch Home Alone. You're gonna like chill out. Like okay.
Watch Love Actually.
Yeah.
Oh God, all the good movies.
What's your favorite Christmas movie? Because I love, like, for me, Christmas, it's like, yes, it's about the food, but there's also like, I have to watch every Christmas movie. And there's movies I watch on Christmas Eve, and there's movies I watch on Christmas Day. What's your go-to Christmas movie?
We have a long list. My husband and I both love Christmas movies. And I think probably because this one's on my mind lately because she recently passed away, but The Family Stone with Diane Keaton.
Oh, yeah. That's
Wilson,
a good one.
Rachel McAdams.
Yep.
Luke Wilson. The cast is amazing.
It's so good.
Sarah Jessica Parker. I mean, and every character is so well done, and the storyline, and every year I watch it, I cry.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I laugh, and that's like my favorite. But there's so many others that are close. Love Actually is a big one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Obviously, family or Christmas Vacation.
Yeah, I have a life-size cardboard cutout of Clark Griswold that always comes out around the holidays.
My kids now know all the quotes, and they say all the time, "You serious, Clark?"
Have you ever seen, it came out maybe 3-4 years ago. It's called 8-Bit Christmas.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, that's on our list. Absolutely.
That is so good. That's one of my favorites.
Especially as a child of the 80s.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm like,
that
I
was
remember
us with
that.
The Nintendos.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, I was the one kid that got a Sega instead of a Nintendo. So I'm like, well, I can't trade games with anybody. Nobody wants to come over to my house and play this thing that they don't know what it is.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, thanks, Grandma and Grandpa. It was just kind of funny. Fun. What, the other thing that just came into my mind is, if you want to really kind of maybe, I don't know if class it up is the right word, but like, instead of like sweets, get a cheese plate for dessert.
Yeah.
And then you can maybe have fun with wines and cocktails and beer for that matter. There's some beers that go really well with cheeses. I love like an English barley wine, which is going to have like notes of like dark fruit, raisin, toffee, and those are 13-14%. Those are the ones that you like. You take them out of the fridge. about a half hour before you're going to open it. Let it warm up because that'll get more of the aromatics, and get like a really nice like wedge of Stilton.
Ooh.
That is the perfect beer and cheese pairing, in my opinion.
Ooh, yeah.
For like winter, like you can't go wrong.
Yeah.
Like that's a really fun one. So like cheese, because I mentioned before we started recording that my friend Chioki brought me to a Wines of Portugal class at France 44. And we tried some really good port wines that were like really good. And they were all paired with a special cheese. And I'm like, that's a fun way. Maybe a different take for some people on dessert. Instead of like, a Yule log thing, you get some cheese and some wine and really have fun.
That's the French way to do it. They do their cheese course at the end of the meal.
Yeah.
And it's usually like a wedge or two of a nice cheese. And that's your finisher. That's your dessert. I think me personally, and I know a lot of other people, you end up doing a cheese plate and you have a little of everything.
Yep.
And it's fun, but it's hard to pair because then I want to try a sample of that Stilton. I want to try some of that triple cream brie. I want to try some of that aged Gouda. I want to try all these fun cheeses. But then the glass, trying to pair it with it. So it's tricky. Cheese is another thing that there are certain ones that go better with it, but a lot of wines go well with a lot of cheeses.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know that I'd stress too much about the pairing as opposed to, I love the idea that just try it.
Yeah.
Just put it out there and let people sample.
Yeah. So the other thing when I think of holidays, I think of presents. What do you get? Like, what are some good gift ideas for that person in your life who is just obsessed with wine? Like, so you mentioned the Big Macs and Burgundy.
Mm-hmm.
That seems like a really interesting book that people should have in their collection. I know in the first show you had like a library stack of books on wine. What are some good? Give me a book for an intro wine person and a book for somebody who is like maybe they've taken a couple of wine classes, maybe they've taken a wine trip. What's a good like maybe a like factual book, and maybe like is there a good like wine story out there that might inspire people to want to travel?
Yeah. I have a few. Well, Wine Folly, I think that's the one I brought and I talked about last time. That's a great intro. It's got all the grapes. It's got a lot of regional information. It's a really good reference book for anybody. I still reference mine all the time. I pull it out and I'm like, what were some of the key characteristics of this Alicante Boucher, like some random grape? It's got it all in there. A fun one that I don't know a lot of people have heard of. It's called Cork Dork.
Oh,
and that's it's obviously wine related. It's about this journalist who knows nothing about wine and decides to write a book about taking on the Court of Master Sommelier's class, the advanced certification.
Oh, cool!
And she goes in and just like gets a part-time job at a restaurant. She goes to tasting groups every day of the week. She attends all these wine events, and she like immerses herself for 6 months in the wine industry.
Oh, that's so awesome.
But she also takes on this passion project of learning all about the science of smell. So there's a lot of really cool science of smell and how smell plays a big part of wine. So that was a great book.
That's called Cork Dork?
Cork Dork.
Okay.
That's a great book. Wine and War is one of my favorites. It's about World War II and how each of the wine regions in France reacted and handled the occupation.
Oh, sure.
And they all did it very differently. So, Burgundy, Champagne, Bordeaux, Loire, and how they survived and basically preserved their history, their wine, their culture, and managed the Germans. So that's a really cool one. Along the Wine Route by Kermit Lynch is a classic. And I only read it for the first time last year. It's Kermit Lynch, a very famed importer. He got his start back in the 70s, I think. And he would just go and just get in a car and drive to wineries and ask to taste their wines to import to his shop in Berkeley in California.
Okay.
And he ended up just really learning and diving in deep and not just like sending away for cases of wine from some random place. He really wanted to know and understand and only bring in the best quality. Didn't matter how much it cost, like if it was really cheap or not. He's like, I just want really good quality. And so he's now got a big empire importing. But that story, it chronicles some of his journeys through these regions.
Oh, that would be
learn a
cool.
lot about it and the landscape. There's another one. I'm blank. It's a Minnesota guy, Steve Hoffman. I read that one also. It's kind of a similar story where he goes a season for that. That's what it's called, a season for that. It came out last year, and he took his whole family and they went and lived in south of France for a year.
Oh, cool.
And ended up didn't plan to, but ended up getting a part-time job at a winery or helping out with harvest, and became accepted into this tiny little village that they were initially outcasts from.
Oh, that's cool.
It's a great story. So those are some good books, I would say, for sure.
What do you get? Are there some must-have wine gadgets that people, because I know, like, I love whiskey and bourbon. So, like, I love those fancy ice cube molds. I've gotten a lot of those. Last year I got like a really nice like cocktail making set with all the tools and different things. So what are some things that you'd buy for somebody who's into wine? Are there certain, like, is there a new like kind of a wine glass, or like, I know there's like a lot of the wine opener technology is like on par with NASA in some ways. Like, it's just like, whoa, what do I need a car battery to make this thing work? What are some good things, like wine gadgets, that people might like?
I think the corkscrew piece is big. A nice corkscrew, the waiter's corkscrew that or key. Spend $20, $25 on a nice one that has a good knife on the side that you can take the foil off. Yeah. That's all you need. I would never buy somebody those fancy rabbit ones or the hydraulics. Okay. And they have they need a cartridge to
I'm
open
opening
it,
a bottle of wine. I'm not fixing my transmission on my car. Relax.
But just a really nice one. So not those winged ones.
Okay.
Like those aren't so great. So you want to be able to cut the foil, pull the two tiered corkscrew that pulls the cork out really nicely. Perfect. That's a great stocking stuffer. Same with a champagne stopper, a good one. So if you open a bottle of bubbles and you can't finish it. Yeah. I don't know who has that problem. Certainly not me. But
I'm not running the same circles with those people.
If that's you or somebody or many people, sometimes I get to that point. There are really good ones that do hold pressure well and can last till the next day. Couldn't last more than 1 day, but it's nice to be able to get you to the next day and you can finish it the next day. So those are out there. If you want to splurge on a wine gift, a Coravine is a really cool gift for, especially if someone collects wine or they buy a lot of wine. It is one of the NASA level hydraulic kind of tools, but it's worth it. It has a tiny needle, like a needle with a hollow inside in it. You pop it into the cork. It's like this tool you pop on top. The needle plunges in, and it allows just a small stream of wine to come out. So you pour it out then, and then you're pushing this button at the same time that inserts inert gas back into the bottle so that there's no oxygen exchange. Okay. And in fact, there's argon gas that goes back into the bottle to preserve the wine. Okay. So you can you could pour a glass of this wine right here and then put it back in your cellar and it's perfectly fine.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And that's called Coravine?
Coravine, Coravin. Okay. There's a few models out there. The basic entry-level one, probably at least $100, but it's a good splurge for a wine nerd. Okay. Kind of person.
What's a good, if somebody's into wine and they want to learn about it, would like a wine class, like, something like a gift card, or like, obviously we're here at Thomas Liquors. Yeah. Like, I'm sure, and with the holidays coming up, I know on the first show you mentioned that you do like, you can become a member here and get curated wine boxes. That's maybe a good, if you've got somebody who's just obsessed and wants something different. Like as a beer person, people are like, oh, I don't want to bring you beer because you've probably had it. And I'm like, well, that's not true. Like, but like if like somebody once, like we did this like white elephant thing at work, and like one of the secretaries in the main office got my name, and she just like wrapped up a 6-pack for me. And she's like, well, here you go. And I'm like, that was so cool. Like, also, like, if you're buying wine for somebody, that can be probably like, if I were going to try to buy you a bottle of wine, I would not, because I'm like, I don't know where to start. But like, what's a safe like wine gift for somebody if you want to impress somebody with like a $40 bottle of wine? What's a good, just like off the top of your head, available at Thomas Liquors all the time? What's something that you would say?
I think bubbles are always the answer.
Okay.
There's a few. I think that the lowest champagne we have is 50, but it's a great bottle of champagne, and it's champagne.
Yeah.
So people always find a reason to drink champagne, or can find a reason, and most people like it and enjoy it. So I think that's a great one. Otherwise, like a Burgundy, so you can find a nice Burgundy for 30, 40, no problem. White or red. The Burgundy is kind of like just this magical origin of a lot of great wine. So Chardonnay and Pinot Noir come from Burgundy, and they're made really just beautifully there.
Okay.
Those would be great gifts. But yeah, I think the wine club here at Thomas is great for a gift. 2 bottles, 3 bottles, or 6 bottles.
Okay.
And you can gift it as a membership. Get just a gift card here. We have classes and events in our cellar where we're sitting all the time.
Yeah.
You could get a gift card for somebody, and they could use it for something like that. Or for me, I have that business, My Wine Truth, and offer private events, private dinner parties, or just
that would be perfect.
Yeah. So my favorite is a group of 10 people sit down, bring 6 bottles of wine. We agree on a theme. I can offer an idea, or work with anyone else's inspiration if they have an idea already, or a travel destination they want to go to and they want to try the wine. I'll bring maps. I'll talk about the region, talk about the history,
that would be perfect.
Yeah,
that would
run
be
a nice little tasting, and those are a lot of fun too, for sure.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. So to summarize, you're thinking about bringing wine to a holiday function. Don't overthink it. You really can't go wrong. We mentioned at the top of the show, there's a couple really nice bottles. So we've got this Carpe Diem, a 2022 Vouvray.
Mm-hmm.
We have this 2024 Wiley Wines. And we have this is more of like the fancy splurge from the Frank family vineyards, the 2023 Carneros Chardonnay. Mm-hmm. That's a really pretty bottle too. And then what was this? This was a bubbly one.
Yep.
Sparkling wine.
J. Lawrence from Limoux, so sparkling brut.
Okay.
And then we had the Pinot Noir from Germany.
Yep.
Salve is the winery on that one.
Okay, and that one would go well with turkey, you said.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go great with turkey.
Yeah.
And then a Beaujolais. So Régny is the region, and what they call this one, Régny Beaujolais.
Okay.
Would also be great with turkey too.
And these all range very reasonably priced, from like 27 to
15 to 40.
15 to 40. So that's not going to break anybody's budget. Mm-hmm. So that's really good. One big takeaway: have fun with it. Don't be too weird. Don't try to overthink. And then for gifts, there were a lot of good books. But if you've got somebody who's really into wine and you want to really impress them, a wine experience with My Wine Truth would be great, or a Coravine. There's some sort of weird scientific way to preserve your wine until you're ready to drink it again. This is always so fun. Yeah. I learned so much when we chat. So where can people find you on social media for the wine?
Yeah, so My Wine Truth is my handle, and I do try to post a lot of things I'm drinking or pouring or have tasted or cooked with, and happenings at the shop. So follow me there. Follow Thomas Liquors.
Okay.
We have a lot of fun things going on throughout the holidays.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking time to chat. This has been fun. Cheers.
Thanks, Dan.
Yeah. I want to thank Nicole Collins-Kwong for coming on the show. Obviously, if you like beer, there's a pretty good chance you probably also enjoy wine. I think that her wisdom and wine tips are the thing of legend, and I always learn so much when she shares her wine knowledge with us. Make sure you give My Wine Truth a follow and check out some of her unique tasting experiences. She makes wine approachable and fun, and I love having her on the show. Now, I want to give a special thank you to Brad Ashton, Marcus Dodson, Chuck Dorsey, Vicky Epper, Daniel Fisher, Todd Fitzloff, Laura Fleischfresser, Matt Holton, Cable Lefto, Dave Long, Ben Michaels, Brent Newman, Bree Smith, Jesse Storms, Sarah Cry, Cal Vandehoof, and Brian Wu for being Keg Standard level supporters of the A One Pint Stand Patreon. You've all shown incredible generosity, and I'm grateful for it. Cheers to you all. You might have noticed a new bit of audio right before the social media plug. Well, I want to give a huge thank you to the band Quirky for creating a nice little jingle for the podcast. I just love how it turned out, and it adds such a great personal touch to the show. Thank you so much. Before I say goodbye, I want to give a shout out to our sponsor for this episode, 56 Brewing. After finding something for everyone on the menu, explore the various spaces of the brewery and discover all of the eclectic pieces that fit together to make 56 Brewing the Northeast neighborhood favorite it is today. With that, this has been another episode of A One Pint Stand, a Minnesota craft beer podcast where the pants stay on, but the caps come off. Cheers. When you said red wine earlier goes well with turkey, I felt vindicated because that's usually what I have, and people are like, oh, that's not going to pair well. I'm like, shove it.